Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be reviewing my custom LEGO Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. But before we get into the review, I'd like to mention something quickly, and that is I've started up channel memberships. So just to give you a quick overview, there'll now be a channel membership tab on my channel. Now, I don't like being the guy to ask people for money, but I do think this is a very good subscription, as I have tried to put as many perks as I can, at least ones I can manage to do. Some do apply to live streams, which I don't currently do, but I am planning on doing in the future. And obviously, it is just a small fee, and it would really help out. But obviously, on screen, you can see some of the basic things here, as well as the highest tier, which is £5 a month, and it has quite a lot of good perks, at least ones that I think would be worthwhile for members of this channel. And obviously, here are some other things you will get by having a membership. But anyways, I think it's time to get back to the review. So here he is, from the side. And I do think the tank mode is slightly squashed, but even here, I think it does look alright for what it is, given that this is an alien tank. And compared to the SS figure, I think it looks quite good, even if the front tank treads are slightly short. But that is due to the fact I wanted to use real rubber for the front ones just to give him a better appearance. And here from the back he is slightly flat from the top. So comparing him with a Speed Champions car for scale, you can see he is actually quite wide, and obviously he'll be quite large in robot mode. And here he is with a minifigure, and I don't think the scale is too far off from what it would be like in real life. And here is one final look at the treads on the side. But now I think it's time for his transformation. So to start off with, we can untab these pieces in the middle and swing both the legs out to the side on these ball joints. And you'll notice this transformation is similar to the Studio series, because next we're going to lift up this back piece and compress the turret onto his back, as the turret is going to sit inside his chest. And using the hinge and ball joint, we can fold out the arm, as well as rotate it up on the ball joint just to give us clearance for the later steps, as I think it's easier for the legs if we have more room to work with. And obviously we can repeat these steps on the other side, so using the hinge and ball joint, we can just take the arm down to the side as well as fold it up to his head, just to give us the extra clearance. Now I'm only going to show one leg here, as it does involve quite a few steps, but the first one is to rotate around at the ball joint in his thigh. And now we can take this double hinge and fold up this armor piece onto his thigh, which is exactly the Studio Series transformation for this piece. And we can also compress these tires or treads into the knee, and fold out this side panel. And coming to the front of his foot, we can now take the hinge joint in the middle and collapse it, so he has a more triangular foot shape. So it should look something like that. And for extra stability, we can just rotate this piece around, as this will help the foot sit better in robot mode. Now, using a series of hinges, we can rotate and hinge this grey piece off to the side, and rotating on the stud, we can fold it all the way around like that, and collapse it into the side of his foot, as this just helps as an extra heel piece. And for one of the final steps on the leg, we can take this panel piece and fold it into the side. And one last step is we need to split the treads to give them that movie accurate appearance, but before that we can also rotate them so they're in the correct configuration for robot mode. And here you can see the treads have now been split. And now we can take that ball joint for his thigh and we can rotate the leg down. And just like the Studio Series toy, there's a double hinge in there, so we need to compress his leg into the inside of his chest or torso area, and it should just tab in just to keep it secure. Now, like I said, I've only shown one leg here because there's quite a few steps, so I'll just transform the other one just like that. So for the upper torso, we can just take this back piece and it should just compress just like this, where the turret is on the inside. And similar to the SS, we can take his head and just rotate it down on these two hinge pieces. And we can also rotate the arms down on these ball joints for the arms. and he's beginning to take shape. But for the arms, we can rotate this one and unfold the claw piece. And for the other one, we can unfold one of the fingers just to make it slightly longer, as well as unfold the other one, as it just has a small piece that rotates out. So, there he is in his robot mode. And here he is with the Studio Series figure, and honestly, I think I've done a pretty good job of this guy. And now, I get he is not entirely movie accurate, but that's because people have already built movie accurate versions, and I'd rather go for something more unique, which is why I base most of mine off the figures, as it gives them a slightly different appearance as well as a more interesting transformation. And here you can see all the comparisons with the Studio Series figure. The only place I'm not so keen about is the back, as it is quite flat. And you can see here he is about Voyager height. So here he is compared to some other little figures, just to show he is actually quite tall. But he probably does scale with the Studio Series figures, considering most of my LEGO Transformers are slightly larger than that scale. And you can see he is a head taller than the Voyager Optimus Prime. And here he is compared to the car as well as the minifigure, which I actually think he scales quite well with. Unfortunately though, I've never seen Megatron in real life, so I'm not entirely 100% sure. Now, he does come with one accessory, which is this blade piece, which can either be stored in the arm and it can flip out, or you can take it off. So here is it in the flipped out configuration, as well as the full shot of the claw. And for some of the details, I'd just like to show you the toe area here, as this uses some slightly illegal but cool building techniques just to get these tires in place and to make them look like the treads. So you can see here, they are just wrapped around a series of bricks. However, to make it stronger, I used the square bricks, which does bend the tires slightly, which is why it is probably illegal. But I doubt the police will be showing up for this one. And you can see here, those are the square bricks I was talking about. I also think his head is actually quite good for this scale, as well as this cannon piece, which is obviously based on the Studio Series one, and his other claw. And there's a light grey colour here. That's because they don't make that piece in the darker grey. And obviously his back is hollow, just to make it accurate like the Studio Series figure. He also works with blast effects, which I think does look quite cool. Although I would have preferred a more reddish blast effect, I only have these blue ones, which still don't look too bad on this guy. So anyways, I think that just about wraps up this review for this guy. And, like I mentioned at the start, I have opened up the channel memberships, which obviously, if you have the change lying around, I would really appreciate it, but if you don't, that's fine too, as just watching the content is good enough for me. But if you want to help a poor, starving, depressed, homeless child, then obviously the channel memberships are always available. Because damn man, LEGO is getting expensive these days. But anyways, I'll see everybody for the video next week.